Good morning. So this is the starting point. What I've done with this guy is started off with a prime of black, Chaos Black, and then a Retributor armor coat over it. If you've noticed, the gold is a little dull, but do not worry about that. We will fix that during the painting process. First thing we're going to be doing is using contrast Black Legion to paint all the suit, under armor, the body glove. So in here, the belt, we'll do all the weapon, the blade of the spear, and we'll also do the pipes on the backpack and the exhaust engines. So we're just going around this, getting it all. Belts. These, oh, don't forget the, stick some there, it was a bit much. Don't forget these pipes here, whatever they will be for. You pick them up too. The ribbon, I often forget to do the inside of the elbow. And the blades as well. With the black done, next is a very, very easy step. We're just doing the tabard. I like to use corn red for that. It creates a bit of a deeper red than something like flesh tearers, which we will be using later on for things like gems and, well, on this miniature, gems. Plug that in. Don't forget the back as well. So yeah, nice and easy. Next up, I think we're going to paint in the white. Corax white. I like it. I think it's good. If you didn't kit bash your models with wings, then obviously skip this. I've also got these nifty shoulder pads that came with the old Sanguinary kit. The white applied. It's looking pretty good. Next up, we're going for the Wraithbone. Where are we? Here we are. Wraithbone. And we're going to use that to pick out any of the parchment. So the stuff, any purity seals, which we don't really have on this model. But yeah, just purity seals then. And any other scroll work or anything like that you can find on the model. Wraithbone is a great color. It works really, really well for contrast paints and all the rest of it. However, I do find that it doesn't go on the best. The coverage isn't fantastic, so make sure you don't slop it on too thick. Just accept the fact that you're going to have to come back and do a second coat. One of the other things that I find when I'm trying to paint as quickly as possible is just move on. Like if you have to do 2 coats, move on to the next color, come back. You know, it's really fine to do that, and it speeds up the process. Okay, I'm waiting for the Wraithbone to dry so I can apply a second coat. So in the meantime, we are moving on. We do not have time to hang about. So, Mephiston red. And this is going to be for the shoulder pad. Okay. Okay, next up is probably one of my favorite paints. Flesh Tearers Red. Fantastic color. If you do not have one of these, this pot of paint, go and get it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I know some people might be like, well, I've already used 2 reds. I've used Mephiston red, I've used Corn red, and now you're telling me to use a 3rd red? Also, buckle your boots because we've got a 4th one coming. But regardless, Flesh Tearers Red is fantastic. It goes on gold, it goes on metallics incredibly well. It looks awesome. Great paint. Anyway, and we're putting this over all the vials and blood drops. Be careful with this one, because if you do go over, it will be a pain to fix. Tell me that doesn't look glorious. So yeah, just go around, find all the blood drops, and fill them in. Another quick step, Screamer Pink, and this is just for the wax on the purity seal. Just that. Dead simple. Okay, so next up we are using Apothecary White, and we're going to shade all the white details. Shade, we're going to wash them, whatever the difference is. Dead simple though. Just cover the whole lot of the white. Okay, next, a little bit of Skeleton Horde. This is my absolute favourite way of doing purity seals. Wraithbone, Skeleton Horde, done. Looks great. Watch this. Now, some people like to go back in with like Pallid Witch Flesh and just highlight it up, but I swear to God, you don't need it. It looks fantastic on its own. Even better once it's dried. Okay, now we're going to go and take some Nuln oil. Now, you could leave this step for now and move on to the metallics. And then you can shade the metallics with Nuln oil. But I prefer, again, like I said, leaving the metallics till absolute last. Don't forget the back of the tabard. I'm also going to shade the shoulder pad. This one you definitely don't want to let pull. So don't use too much. Okay, now comes a big one. I use Reikland Fleshshade Gloss. Unfortunately, this paint, you can't buy it anymore. So if you've just got the standard Reikland Fleshshade, that'll do just, that'll do just fine. I'm lucky enough to have this stuff. I think you can still get some if you look hard enough on eBay. They're quite pricey, they're about £10, but I do recommend this stuff if you can get hold of it. If you can't, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the standard Reikland Fleshshade. This one just makes it look a little bit shinier, and it's great for gold. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to shade all the, or wash all the gold with this. You don't want to miss any, so I suggest, the way that I do it anyway, is I do the legs, front leg, back leg, and then I swap to the other leg, arms, torso, head, and any other details that are on the model. Just go around, cover the whole thing, This one, again, you don't want it to pull on any flat surfaces, but like in there, you see on this this joint here, a little bit of pulling in there, it's not such a bad thing. Like, it does look great when it dries. What you don't want, however, is the big round splodges that you can sometimes, like there, for example. You would want to just push that around a little bit. Now this is when the model is really going to start taking off. Look at the difference that's made between that and like the rest of it. Oh, it's so good. Love painting gold. I just wanted to come back and just remind, as well as painting all the gold, obviously we are painting the spear gold. You could paint the spear a different color if you wanted to. You could do it black. I like the way that they look, and it makes sense that they're gold. In the books that I've read, the Black Library novels and whatnot, they always seem to have golden spears. So that's how I like to do them. We are going to go on to the metallics now, I think. Iron Hand Steel is my metallic of choice. I think it goes on fantastically and it looks great. It's kind of, it's brighter than Lead Belcher, and it goes on smoother than Lead Belcher, which is why I like using it. Yeah, metallic details, really it's just on the weapon. If you've got like a bolt gun, you know, check, what do they say? Check the box art. I always do what feels right. I like things to stand out. So for on these like gun sights, or whatever they are, I like to use these. Cover them in metal. Maybe pick out a few other details. We'll do the dry brushing. I use the dry Prixetti White. I like the dry paints that Games Workshop make. I know some people don't, but I think they work really well, and I enjoy using them. They're fun. You don't have to worry about making sure your paint's thinned or anything like that. Try and do it in like circular motions, with the grain, against it, all the rest of it. You know? So yeah, just go around and keep doing that. Now we're going back to Nuln oil. With this, it's just a real quick step of going back and applying this over the black details. We'll leave the spear, so don't touch the weapon, but we'll do it over the black details and the silver that we painted. And this will do two things. Obviously, it'll shade the metallics that we just painted, but it'll also darken the Black Legion. So, right, that's the Nuln oil. So now, while that's all doing its thing, what we'll do is we will move on to the spear, which is, again, it's nice and easy to do these power weapons in a variety of different blues. I start off with Stegodon Scale Green, and we just apply that all over. And then we build up. It's kind of like painting a marble effect. So you do like little squiggly lines, and you follow that up to through Temple Guard blue, and then finally up to Barahoth blue. And ultimately to a white scar. But for now, we're just painting the base Stegodon. Oh, cat attack. Hey, buddy. So just a coat. I mean, if you've got swords, it's the same thing. So. This cat. I would apologize if you can hear him purring, but I don't think anyone's going to mind too much about that. So, in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to dry, sorry cat, down you go buddy, I apologise cat. What we'll do is we will skip to the rubble and we'll start working on the base. So, Mechanica Standard Grey. And this is just for this rubble that we've got there. Okay, so first coat of the grey is drying. We're going back to the sword and we're just going to edge highlight along the blade. Chunky highlights, is that what they call them? They don't make it too thin. As well as the this middle ridge. And I'll do the whole of this gem, the blood drop. This is where I imagine the power generator is incorporated into this weapon. Does it show up? Yeah. So next up we've got some Temple Guard blue. And with this, we're going to start creating our lines. So, if you imagine marble, is how I imagine it when I paint these. Everything is emanating from the center structure, this node, and the idea is that the weapon is charging and sending its power out to the edges and especially the tip. So I drag the squiggly lines in a diagonal kind of pattern away. And if you can imagine lightning, and it'll connect at the center and then further out. I've definitely found that sort of less is more with this. Don't forget the any bolts that will go off towards the back too. Some of the other ones that I've done, I've been a little overzealous with it. But yeah, so the same again. You imagine the power just crackling along the blade. And it is very similar to marble, if you've ever painted marble. And then when you've done that, again, just very lightly edge highlight along the blade. Just like that. Again, not forgetting the gem. We're now moving up to Baharoth. Beautiful colors. And for this, we're just kind of trying to get in the center of the lines you've already drawn. Follow the wiggles. The power node. And then, oof. The edges. Make sure your brush isn't too wet, like mine was there. And the same again on the other side. And then finally, get some of your brightest white, which in my case is white scar. Well, I say finally, there's another step you can do. But you've got to wait until that's dry. But effectively, it'll be a glaze to just kind of tide it over. This is where things can go a little funny. Again, don't worry too much. If you've got a bit of blue left on your brush, it actually helps. But bright white, bluey white, it's all good. And you want to just highlight the edge, the top. And the power node. And the center line. You can maybe bring it down a bit here. What you can do as well, and this is where things can go, if you see here where the lightning bolt splits into like 3 different directions, you can just dot it. One there, one there, one there, one there, and on the other side, one there, one there, one there, one there. Almost like a constellation. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then obviously the same on the other side. Drag it down a bit more. Drag it down a bit more. Do the center spine. And then the dots. Okay, so we're going to highlight the Tabard, or whatever the proper name is, and for that we're going to use some Wazdaka red, and all you do is follow the raised segments. Oh, I'm off camera, aren't I? Sorry. Nightmare. So yeah, we're just following the raised segments. Hopefully some of that was on camera. Hey, it's my first tutorial. Speaking of which, if this has at all been helpful, or you feel like giving me some sympathy, because I'm going to need it, drop me a subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 to try and do some live streams. There we go. Just like that. Next up, we're going to take some squig orange. We just follow the line and try and do a smaller one. In the raised portions. will do. If you're not happy with the blade the way it looks, what you can do now is you can get your Stegadon scale green and create a glaze. So let's just take out a little dollop, we don't need a lot, and then flood it with water, or medium, if you want to use medium. I'm fine with water. Really flood it. There we go, that's pretty good. And then just draw it over the entire blade. And that just ties it together. Like so. Okay, let's finish the gold up. So first of all, a dry brush of Liberator gold. Also use the smallest dry brush you've got. And we're just going for a fairly generous, that's the word I'm looking for, dry brush on the areas that are going to be hitting the front of the model from the light. So abs, the chest, the gorget, the headpiece. Again, really don't worry too much if you end up covering up some of these gems. We'll be fixing them. Really, we could have probably left them till after we did the gold. So straight down the middle, just like that. This is where you can fix some of the problems you might have had with the wash. Next, we're going to take some Necron compound. Again, if you don't have that, you can use Stormhorse Silver. This is going to be an incredibly light dry brush. You don't want it to look silver. You can now do it over the weapon as well. In fact, I would recommend starting with the weapon. Once you've done that, then start with some of the raised areas. The gorget would be a good one, the chest, the abs, the belt. On this model, the headpiece, the face, just really light though. The spear, the whatever this part is called. What is this part called? Hilt? I don't know. So it's time for my secret weapon for the gems. Spirit Stone Red, technical paint. Wonderful stuff. This will give all the gems a really nice glossy, a glossy look. So get a little bit on there and paint them straight on. It's a bit like contrast paint, and you kind of have to use more than you think you might need. So go around all the gems, all the blood drops. Until you finish that up. And don't forget the vial as well if you've got one. So that is him pretty much finished. We've just got the base left to do. I think he's looking pretty good. The base is dead simple. You You may have seen that on one of my other videos. We just take some Armageddon dust, spread it on. So yeah, Armageddon, Agrax Earthshade for the rubble. Just a good all over coating. Okay, so we've got our Dawnstone, and we're just going to dry brush this over the rubble. It's pretty good. Yeah. So we will just go straight into the Screaming Skull. And this is for the desert. Nice. So I guess I will finish this segment with, we'll just stick a little tuft on there before we do the rim. Some super glue. And your rim of choice. I would prefer something that looks a bit dried. The Mordian Corpse grass works really well. Something like this, which is quite an elite model, I'll normally use two tufts. One at the front, one at the back. That seems to work. And we'll do a nice big one at the front. And then a smaller one, or slightly smaller one anyway, at the back. And we'll finish up the model itself with some Steel Legion drab. This is for the base rims. So there we go. Start to finish. Sanguinary Guard. We'll get him in front of the camera to close out the video. So there's the finished Sanguinary Guard. I hope you found this useful. I think he's turned out really well. He's going to take his place as the last of Dante's bodyguard for my unit. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.